You know that feeling, right? That constant hum in the back of your head asking, am I doing enough? Am I good enough?
Mm.
It's this stress, this feeling like you're always chasing some invisible finish line.
Mm.
But who even said it?
Yeah, that's the question.
Whether it's, school pressure, career stuff, fitting in, or just this nagging feeling you should be. I don't know more. It can really feel like you're stuck in a pressure cooker.
It absolutely can.
So we've been digging into some really interesting insights, articles, research, even a fascinating online discussion to get under the hood of this stress of not meeting expectations. And maybe more importantly, how to define success on your own terms.
Let's unpack that, because that feeling you mentioned, that kind of internal friction, it's so often fueled by external pressure.
Right, from outside.
Exactly. The sources are pretty clear on this. It comes from, well, parents, teachers, friends, society at large, even cultural norms.
So it's not just me being neurotic then. It's actually something the world kind of pushes on us.
Oh, definitely.
How does that external pressure actually, show up
Yeah.
day to day?
You see it everywhere, really. Take education. The sources point to these intense academic demands. The push for top grades, perfect scores, getting into that specific university.
The right one.
The right one, exactly. Then you've got social expectations, pressure to be popular, to fit in with certain groups, maybe present this perfect image online.
Yeah, the social media effect.
For sure. And looking ahead, future stuff, huge pressure around careers. Which job is seen as successful? How much money should you be making? What title do you need?
Like a pre-written script for life.
Kind of, yeah. And these aren't just vague ideas. They translate into really specific, often overwhelming demands on people.
It's about fitting a mold, isn't it? Often someone else's mold. And while we're focusing on the external stuff today, I guess those outside pressures must feed into the demands we put on ourselves, too.
Absolutely. One source made a great point about that. Our internal expectations, while they feel personal, are frequently shaped or, amplified by what the world seems to want from us.
Okay, so it's intertwined.
Deeply. And the consequences, they're significant. This isn't just feeling a bit uncomfortable sometimes.
Wow.
No. Constantly feeling like you're falling short really takes a toll on your well-being. The sources talk about things like chronic stress, anxiety, that feeling of being constantly on edge.
Worrying if you measure up.
Exactly. All the time.
That sounds utterly exhausting. Like it leads straight to burnout, doesn't it?
Burnout is a major one, yes. That profound physical and emotional exhaustion. It comes from trying relentlessly to meet what often feel like impossible demands.
And it must mess with how you see yourself.
Totally. It often leads to low self-esteem. You start feeling inadequate because you internalize this idea that you're somehow failing others or failing yourself against their standards. And in more serious cases, this whole pressure cooker thing can even contribute to depression.
Wow. Okay. And I imagine this doesn't just stay neatly in our personal lives, right? The sources must talk about the workplace, too.
Oh, absolutely. Unrealistic expectations were flagged as a primary cause of stress at work.
Makes sense. Where does it usually come from? Bad bosses.
Often, yeah. Poor leadership setting impossible targets, maybe not communicating clearly about what's actually expected or feasible.
So people feel trapped.
Exactly. They might feel they can't speak up, worried they'll look incompetent or, not a team player.
Ugh, that phrase.
Right. And then there's the whole culture of perfectionism, whether it's coming from the top or something people impose on themselves. It means mistakes aren't learning opportunities, they're just failures. That adds incredible pressure.
And the result isn't just stressed out employees, is it? It must hit the work itself.
Definitely. That stress leads directly to tangible problems, more errors, missed opportunities, damaged team morale. It's a clear line from feeling pressured to, well, underperforming.
So it's bad for everyone.
Pretty much. What I found particularly interesting in the sources was how this stress connects so deeply to needing external validation.
Okay. So it's not enough to just do the thing.
Right. It only feels real or valuable if someone else gives it the thumbs up.
That hits home. I know so many people, myself included sometimes, who feel that. Why is that need for approval so strong? Almost crippling at times.
Well, digging into one source, especially that online discussion we mentioned, it seems this intense need for validation often links back to a deeper sense of shame, maybe, or a kind of fragile sense of self.
Like where you learned it from.
Yeah. It could stem from past experiences where your choices, your feelings, your autonomy were just dismissed or invalidated. If you grew up feeling like you could never quite get it right,
then seeking approval becomes the only way to feel okay.
it can become a coping mechanism, yeah. a way to finally try and feel adequate or safe.
So it's less about impressing people now and more about trying to fix something old.
That's a good way to put it. There was this really striking phrase in the discussion describing giving up your own autonomy, even when they never asked, just to keep the peace or avoid criticism you expect.
Wow.
But that leads to this feeling of self-despisement because you're basically betraying yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And another really powerful image from the sources was this idea of praying to the God of other people's opinions.
Oof. Praying to the God of other people's opinions, that's vivid, like completely outsourcing your sense of worth.
Exactly.
And that seems totally tied up with chasing someone else's idea of success, doesn't it?
It absolutely is. One Psychology Today piece we looked at really highlighted how society tends to define success with external markers, money, status, job titles, possessions.
Usual suspects.
Right. And it's incredibly easy to get sucked into chasing those things, thinking that's what will bring happiness or fulfillment, even if deep down they don't really align with your actual values.
You see everyone else doing it, so you assume that's the path.
Precisely. But the sources point out this critical paradox. You can tick all those boxes, get the prestigious job, the fancy car, the perfect Instagram feed, and still feel empty.
Empty.
Unfulfilled. The article gave examples like thinking, okay, when I get that promotion, then I'll finally feel accomplished. Or once I buy that house, then I'll feel successful.
The when-then trap.
Yeah.
I know it well. Happiness is always just over the next hill.
Exactly. It's like that Sisyphus myth, constantly pushing the boulder uphill, it rolls back down, you start again. If your sense of success is always tied to the next external thing,
you never actually get to feel successful now.
You might not. You're always waiting for the then.
Okay. Wow. So we get where the pressure comes from. We see the impact on well-being, how it traps us in seeking validation and chasing maybe the wrong dreams. It paints a pretty stark picture.
It can feel that way.
So how do we break free? How do we actually let go of this external pressure and start defining success for ourselves?
Well, the foundation, really, that came through in multiple sources is cultivating self-awareness. You have to turn inward.
Okay. Like figuring out whose voice is actually talking in your head.
Okay.
Is it yours or an echo?
That's a great way to think about it. It starts by asking yourself, what's genuinely important to me? Not my parents, not my boss, not Instagram, me. What are my core values?
Setting your internal compass.
Exactly. The sources really stress that clarifying your personal values is crucial.
And once you have a sense of your values, how do you untangle all those expectations? External versus internal.
You need to get specific. Identify the expectations actually weighing on you. Are they coming from outside or are they ones you've put on yourself?
How can you tell the difference sometimes?
One helpful clue from a source is noticing the emotion it triggers. If an expectation brings up guilt or shame, that might point to an internalized one.
Okay.
But if it feels more like resentment or anger, that often signals an external pressure you feel is being imposed on you.
Interesting distinction.
Also, really assessing the actual consequences if you don't meet them. Are they truly catastrophic? Or is it more about fearing judgment?
Getting realistic about the stakes.
Exactly. And then you challenge them, evaluate them objectively. Ask, is this expectation realistic for me right now? Do I even have control over achieving it? Sometimes getting feedback from people you trust, people who know you well, can offer a more objective view. The key is shifting from just automatically accepting expectations to consciously deciding if they fit.
So ditching the external scorecard, basically, and making our own based on our values.
That's the core idea, defining success on your terms. Building a life that feels genuinely aligned with who you are and what you value, not twisting yourself into knots to fit someone else's definition.
What might that look like? Success on your own terms.
The sources gave some great examples, actually. Things like maybe it's having a flexible schedule that allows for things you care about. Maybe it's cultivating peace of mind.
Yeah.
Or being truly present with family and friends. Recognizing small daily wins, even just getting enough good sleep consistently.
Things that feel good internally, not just look good externally.
Precisely. Things that contribute to feeling successful from the inside out, regardless of the external applause.
That sounds way more sustainable and fulfilling. So beyond the self-awareness and redefining success, what practical strategies did the sources offer for actually managing the stress?
Okay, several key things came up. First, setting goals, but making them personal, realistic, achievable goals. SMART goals specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, the drill.
Right.
But The crucial part is that they need to be aligned with your values, not just chasing external validation.
And basic self-care, I assume, that's always fundamental.
Absolutely critical, non-negotiable. Prioritizing self-care means, yes, consistent physical activity, eating well, getting enough good sleep. These aren't luxuries when you're under pressure. They're your foundation for resilience.
Okay. What about managing the mental side? The noise?
Developing healthy coping mechanisms is vital. Things like mindfulness, meditation practices to help anchor you in the present and quiet that anxious mental chatter.
Mm-hmm.
Journaling came up too, not just for venting, but as a way to observe and process your thoughts and feelings without judgment. And engaging in hobbies just because you enjoy them, no pressure to be good, no productivity angle, just pure enjoyment. That's incredibly restorative.
And you don't have to go through this alone.
Definitely not. Building a strong support network is essential. Friends, family, mentors, maybe professionals like a therapist or counselor. They can offer emotional support, different perspectives, practical advice when it all feels like too much.
A big part of the pressure, for me anyway, is that negative voice when you feel like you are failing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you tackle that?
Yes. The inner critic. A powerful technique mentioned is reframing those negative thoughts. Cognitive restructuring, sometimes it's called.
How does that work?
You identify the critical thought like, I'm a total failure because I didn't get that promotion. Then you challenge its validity. Is that really true? Is it based on objective fact? Is it the only way to see it?
Probably not.
Usually not. And then you consciously replace it with a more balanced, realistic thought. Something like, okay, this setback is disappointing, but it doesn't define my entire worth, and maybe I can learn something from it.
Which sounds like it connects to embracing imperfection.
Exactly. Understanding that mistakes and setbacks are just part of growing. They're not proof of fundamental failure. Adopting more of a growth mindset, seeing challenges as chances to learn, is a powerful antidote to that perfectionist paralysis.
Yeah, perfectionism is a killer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one concept that really stood out for me from the sources as a direct counter to all this pressure was self-compassion.
Yes, this is so key. Self-compassion is crucial, especially when you inevitably fall short or face difficulties. The sources position it as healthier than just focusing on self-esteem.
Why healthier?
Because self-esteem can be fragile, right? It often depends on feeling good or better than. Self-compassion isn't about evaluation. It actually fuels motivation for growth from mistakes because you're not beating yourself up.
Okay. How does it work?
The research breaks it down into three main parts. First, self-kindness. Treating yourself with warmth and understanding when things are tough instead of harsh judgment.
Like you'd treat a friend.
Exactly, you treat a friend. Second, common humanity. Recognizing that suffering, failing, feeling inadequate, that's part of being human. You're not alone in it.
That's comforting.
It really is. And third, mindfulness. Observing your painful thoughts and feelings without getting totally swept away by them, but also without suppressing them, just noticing them with some balance.
So instead of spiraling when you miss an expectation, you kind of pause, acknowledge it's hard, remember everyone struggles, and offer yourself some kindness.
That's the essence of it. And studies show it doesn't make you lazy or complacent. It actually boosts motivation for positive change because you're not stuck in fear or shame. It really helps counteract that negative perfectionism loop.
This all sounds deeply connected to emotional intelligence skills, too.
It absolutely is. Things like self-management, handling impulses, managing emotions under stress and self-awareness, knowing your emotions and how they affect you, they're critical here. Developing your EQ helps you make clearer choices about what truly matters to you, which is fundamental for navigating all these expectations.
Any final, maybe quick, practical takeaways from the sources?
A simple but powerful one. Keep the promises you make to yourself. It builds internal trust. It validates your own importance, separate from anyone else's opinion.
I like that.
Also, be aware of what one source called coveting tendencies, always wanting what others seem to have, and recognize that trap of outer attainment for inner attunement.
Trying to fix the inside by getting stuff on the outside.
Exactly. And maybe the most freeing thought, which echoed strongly in one source, is the simple but difficult truth. You are not here on this earth to live up to other people's expectations. You are here to live your life, to have, as they put it, your excellent adventure.
That feels like a really powerful place to land.
It really captures the shift we're talking about.
So wrapping this up, our deep dive really shows how pervasive this stress of external expectations is. It hits us everywhere: school, work, personal life. It chips away at our mental and physical health, traps us in this cycle of seeking approval, and stops us finding real fulfillment.
Yeah, and that need for validation often runs deep, tied to old insecurities, learned patterns, maybe feeling like we need permission just to be okay.
But the good news is the sources also give us a clear path forward.
Yeah.
It's actionable. By building self-awareness, practicing self-compassion, actively questioning those external pressures.
Setting goals that actually align with our own values and developing those healthy coping strategies, we can make a real shift, a powerful one.
It's about turning inward, isn't it? Moving away from chasing validation out there, from that god of other people's opinions.
And towards building the solid sense of self-sufficiency, of confidence within ourselves, reclaiming your right to define what a successful, meaningful life looks like for you.
Independent of anyone else's checklist.
Exactly.
So maybe here's a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on after this deep dive. If your basic worth genuinely isn't decided by what other people expect of you, what possibilities suddenly crack open the moment you truly start to believe that? What might you dare to try? Or maybe, what might you finally give yourself permission to stop trying so hard at? When you prioritize your own journey, your own growth over the quest for external approval, what does your excellent adventure actually look like?